Hey Bob, it's Brandon. David Bramer is present, Patrick Finnegan, and Shane Caldwell.
Oh. I'll listen in and then I'll head up that way, okay? I'm just finishing this one.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
You ready?
Yep, I think so.
We'll start with pledge of allegiance. Welcome to the inaugural 911 advisory board meeting 2026. We'll start with pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So old business, do you have?
No old business, I don't think, not yet.
Okay, well, we'll start, well, after this meeting, we'll have some old business.
Right, there we go.
We'll have stuff that we talked about today. All right, so, new business.
So I've listed management control agreement. That's an agreement that IDAX requires us to have, between all the department heads. We could get you signed, and then we'll have to redo it again whenever Ben and, Chief Muck gets. That's it, so I've already signed it. I got Ben's here. Awesome, thank you.
Anything else for new business?
I think that's it for
That's it.
business.
Do you wanna, I mean, should we talk a little bit about why we went through the change that we did, just so everyone knows and it's out there that we didn't just
Sure.
not meet for a whole year? And then,
So October of 2024, IDAX came, conducted an audit. And one thing we did not have was this management control agreement. So the way that the board was set up, it was out of compliance because technical control of 911, since we're operating like NCIC, IDAX has to be within the hands of law enforcement. So the majority of the board, 51%, has to be law enforcement. At the time, it was not set up that way. So that's why we had to do the restructuring to make 51% law enforcement on the board.
normally it wouldn't take quite that long, but for us, not you, for us, it did. And so eventually got that through. So not Brandon's fault, but just getting the paperwork. Yeah, where it needed to be. So that's why the change, that's why we didn't, I don't think we met any last year, did we?
I don't think so.
So, anyway, I know there were some questions, but that was the reason we were just trying to get everything in order. There was I think it was even last year though, there was the talk that the federal folks would come through and audit us,
It was definitely a potential.
but they didn't.
So yeah, we were one of the lucky ones that didn't get chosen. So I heard that it's hard to pass an FBI audit. Just because
The FBI?
yeah, they're always gonna find something. So I think when we went to the IDAX area meeting, the state as a whole didn't get as good as what they hoped, but you never can because they're always looking for what you did wrong. So
Okay, well. All right, on to the director's report.
okay, I figured I'd catch us up since 2020, June of 2024. Last year, August, we obtained Comms Coach by GovWorks. It's an AI-based QA/QI program, so quality assurance, quality improvement. It also offers simulations to where dispatchers can train on certain types of calls. We can go in there and create any type of call you can imagine. And the dispatchers who are in training can do that rather than technically we get our training live, like, you sit through the call.
Yeah.
So
Instead of you guys
yeah,
doing
so-
the practice calls like you were.
yeah, so hopefully, we notice a little bit quicker to start, is, like, one of the biggest things would be, we'd get someone trained, but there would be no fire calls. So then they're not confident on fire calls, so, we're hoping that this bridges that gap, and it also offers that quality assurance, so we know how we're performing, and we can then, increase our.
I mean, I think that's the second part of this, is that you do get a review the calls and you get the training for those that haven't had it, but also you get time to go back and, all right, let's listen to what we did and.
Yeah, definitely, it's, you know, two birds, one stone, so we like it, we're hoping that it just helps us, do so much better, so. And on that, we did win an award here at the Indiana Digital Government Summit, for our comms coach project.
Brandon, what project was that?
Our comms coach by GovWorks, it won best local, it was a long name, but best local project throughout the state of Indiana.
What did it say on it?
The project,
Yeah.
it's the GovWorks, the QA, QI, it's an artificial intelligence software that does the grading and the training.
So you were one of the first,
Yeah, we were actually the flagship agency in the state of Indiana for comms coach.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're very proud of it. Thank you. So I've been invited to speak at the Indiana Director Summit, because we're one of the few agencies that have implemented AI into the DSAP. So we're kind of working out that, organizing questions, and it should be fun. Right, it's
it'll be an opportunity.
yeah.
Fun, I mean, it could be fun, but opportunity for sure.
We're in the process of installing a new voice recorder. We have really buckled down on training. We have two people who have the Center Manager Certification Program. That's myself and Emily. We have 5 dispatchers who have an excellence in dispatch certification. That's Emily Kirchhoff, Stacy Sams, Savannah Knight, Russell Stallard, and Marie Dunning. And we have Emily Ratliff, who's in progress. The hopes with that is to get accredited through NINA. We hope to deploy Rapid SOS in what 3 words this year. They're both, in a nutshell, helps us capture locations of emergencies. So that way we could get resources dispatched quicker and more precisely. And then Emily Kirchhoff, she's the chair of the best practices of AI integration into the ECC. She and Jefferson County will be noted on the standard, so they're creating a standard that will be recognized nationwide as far as implementing AI into the ECC or PSAP. All I got.
Assuming there's some level of, privacy controls. Could you just describe that?
I'm sorry, what way?
Well, on AI, I know there's a lot of, is there proprietary information that we use AI to support our efforts, but doesn't become part of the AI framework, for example, for others? Or does everything we do go out into the AI world and we have no control over the data?
The data provided is any data that could be discoverable by public requests.
I mean, I think those 2 things that we talked about earlier about this comms coach would be just, because you wait around, you're trying to figure, when are you gonna get a call that covers this or covers that? I mean, and this way you can do them and practice them and then get graded, and it's by, as a former teacher, it's sometimes easier to take feedback from someone else than someone, my kids didn't learn very well from me, so, but and I think, I gotta believe they've set it up such that the feedback given is not slamming them over the head, it's trying to work with them, and yeah, so. And I think you said it was a little bit of a competition too between people to get.
Yeah, everyone has tried to jump at getting comms coach. There's a couple other AI programs that I think eventually would benefit us even, but that's a little bit down the road.
I mean, you get your calls scored and who
Yeah.
got the best score.
Yeah, oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, in that way, because most of us have a little bit of competitiveness. in
Right.
this, and-
I notice when I take calls now, I'm like, how am I gonna get the best score? Like, am I answering all the questions the way that I should be? It definitely makes you more cognizant of what you're asking. And the good thing is if you're like, man, I didn't do so well, then you go back and you have almost instant feedback.
It's good.
I do have these as well. Whenever the airplane at Louisville Airport crashed, we did send them a caring tote. And they provided us with a certificate of appreciation and a very thoughtful letter. So if you guys would like to read it, you're more than welcome to.
Thanks for taking the time to reach out to them and then,
Yeah, we thought it was important. When the tornadoes came through in the spring of 2024, this Indiana State Police sent us a caring tote. And we thought we should return that.
Pass it on.
Yeah, pass it along. So,
Okay. Committee reports?
We just had a meeting last week with the SOP committee. Starting off, we got through, I believe it was 5 SOPs that we got through. To update our SOPs for fire and rescue responses. Well, that's another side of the story, but anyways, so we're currently working on that to take and clear up some language to make it a little bit easier for the dispatchers. Hopefully, once we get all that done, they'll have a section that they'll be able to click onto, depending on what kind of call it is, and know how to dispatch it and get it dispatched out. So, hopefully, we got another meeting next month. We're gonna do this till we get through all of them. Of course, we're all gonna have to create some new SOPs for new things that we're handling.
Sure.
Which I'm gonna really be hitting on, EV fires. Get that set up to know where we need to evacuate from, because now we've learned through our EV training that, just for us, after we get done with the EV fire, that all of our gear has to be shucked and sent to an agency for them to test to see if it's still contaminated to be cleaned. So now we're having to up our game by going ahead and buying a second set of gear for each member. So they'll have a set ready to go while their gear is being tested. So, we got a lot of. Test page, yeah, sorry. So, but we've got a lot of different avenues that we're gonna have to take with some new SOPs that we've never even dreamed about that we'd ever have to have, so. Especially with the new drug coming out, we're gonna have to come up with SOPs for that. For all of our responses and stuff, and how we get the information from the dispatch center. Whether it be this dispatch center or KDH's dispatch center. We got a lot of. Lack of a better word, you know what word I'm talking about, that we're gonna have to deal with. That we have to create, so that's where we stand at the moment. And so I'm probably gonna be pulling some resources, pull some information from law enforcement. Get their input and all that, so.
Can hang up on me.
Yeah, we got quite a challenge to do this next year. Does anybody have any questions?
Thanks.
I've been here, but not been here. I've been on the other line.
Technical committee has,
All right,
since technical with 911 advisory board has been shut down all this time, it really wasn't pertinent to do the technical, which would be law enforcement, fire, sheriff, all that. So we're going to get that going, so I'll be sending out emails to
okay,
town marshal and all that. Because there's gonna be some issues that we're going to have to address. We talked about it in the SOP meeting. When we do have large scale fires, or we have two fire companies on different calls and all that, we're about to seriously look at the dispatch center, making them capable of going to the other fire channels, because if we have a major structure fire working, another fire company gets called out to a car or a house fire, we moved to another channel, but this dispatch center has no way of hearing us on that other channel unless they pull a walkie-talkie out. So I think we're, from police and fire, we're about to look at a system to be able to do that within their consoles and the radio room. It's already, and that's not bursting at the seams yet, because you have to add more radios into the state, to 911. But then we also have to look at too, some programming for the fire side that would dictate that, okay, this fire company's on this call. Vinny was talking about this today. They're on this call. It doesn't show them on the screen if there's not backup fire company to send, so they page us anyway, even though we're busy at another incident. Then the chief has to get on there and say, we're busy, send somebody else, the next closest unit, where with these systems that go into the integrated to the dispatch center, that it would automatically say, okay, here's your next unit and here's your new next backups. So it's probably gonna cost us some money, and it's gonna be a long-term thing to get accomplished. But we've also want that for the police departments to be able to have, if they go to another channel that's not normal, that they would be able to go to that channel. And the dispatch center would still be able to talk to them instead of them switching their walkie-talkies back and forth or their mobiles or whatever. We want to be proactive in it, because I think it's very imperative that the dispatch center is always able to talk to our law enforcement or our incident commanders at these incidents. At any given time or any point, that they don't have to get up out of their seat and go get a walkie-talkie off the wall, out of the charger, to switch that channel to talk to the people that's at that scene. Because then we run into another problem, that if it's pertinent information and stuff that needs to be recorded, it wouldn't be recorded using a walkie-talkie, because it's just on Fireground. Let's, for example, Fireground 1 channel or sheriff's ops channel, anything like that, it would never be recorded. So we want to make sure all that stuff is tied in on those channels. And it may be a whole new wipe the system out and start over and put bids out and all that type of stuff, just because of that. Like he was talking earlier, the instance we're dealing with now is unreal, and it's only escalating every year. I've been talking with other fire departments around the state. And we spent 4 hours with them yesterday. So a lot of this stuff that's coming down onto the firefighters is with NFPA and all that type of stuff. We have to have all this stuff in place in order to cover everybody. You know, we may be low pulled out Madison, Indiana, down here on the river, but up north, wherever you go in the state, all these dispatch centers are going to be facing the same thing. But I can go, of course, y'all talking about big county, Marion County. They have all that stuff been built in for years. It's just starting to trickle down, and the firefighters will be challenged with all that, especially when we get into firefighters down or possible fatality in house fire, all this type of stuff. We got to have all that stuff recorded, and we're going. I don't know what's going to happen this year. The P25 system is going to go up to P25 second phase. When that does happen, I like first to be prepared, because when we go with that, the dispatch center, we should be able to transition over to 800 fire exclusively, and they would be able to page on 800 fire, which give us a lot better clear communications than what we do on the VHF. And right now we need to add in deputy, because they're still using the phone tree, because they're not getting a page every time. So they're calling, one person's pager goes off and nobody else does, they're calling on the phone. And so the imperative thing right now is to act in 911, so everybody gets it, because they will get that. But we also need to make sure their pagers are working also. In all honesty, deputy on Thursday night, when they have their bingo, when they're sitting inside their firehouse, they have to take their walkie-talkies. You walk in and they're lined up all in the window of the firehouse for them to get the transmission.
Because of the roof and everything.
Yeah, and yeah, one of the Hazelwoods out there hanging off the tower of the walkie-talkie, but anyway, those are the type of challenges we're facing out in the county. And the city has it real bad in downtown when they're on walkie-talkies with the repeater. So They're doing some things to alleviate a little bit of that by going to talk around, so it's not tying up them having to listen to what they're saying inside the house, and somebody happens to drop the wrong word on the radio on it, and they think they're on talk around, it doesn't need to come get recorded on in the dispatch center, but I think we're gonna be on a big challenge with all this, and it's gonna take a lot of time to go through it and make sure we hit it right the first time, so we're not going back and rebuilding a system again, or looking to do that. I know I have talked to, just because I know people, talking to some of the radio companies, they actually offer lease programs, and that way you have a 24 guaranteed 24-hour service. That if something goes down and they're here within an hour. So just like I said, this over the years of doing this for 41 years in May this year, I've got a lot of contacts, so we talk quite a bit, but I gotta get that committee together and set up some objectives and some goals of what we want the system to go to.
Okay. Thanks. Any other committees? Okay. Any comments? Looks like public comments. Member committee.
The newly reorganized inaugural
Mhm.
meeting.
I mean, I think we talked,
Public comments.
been a couple of years ago about radio tower placements, looking at to move a couple, one was out in a deputy. I know we had some, was it the guy that does the radios now that we had talked to?
Yeah.
I think he had something, so maybe it's worth bringing him back and,
Well,
letting him.
I think he's in the process of retiring.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, okay, well, maybe his son, or if he's taking the business or whoever, but to have them talk to the technical committee to see what might be an option there, because we looked a little bit at that. I mean, not, because I think we talked then, okay, it's not just a repeater to get them the signal, because they could never send the signal back once, even if they could get it, so.
We have that built into the other 3 repeater sites that we do have that's in the county, where DuPont, Canaan, and Hanover. It actually, it talks back into the repeater, sends it back in
Back here,
here,
okay,
and that's why when we originally put those in, we wasn't capable of doing that, and then we upgraded to do that. And back then, when we did all that, and I'm sure it's 75 now, but it was $50,000 per site. And so I'm sure it's gonna be 75 to that another one, and when we did the analysis before, the other one should be at Kent Firehouse, because that would get it to deputy. I was in on all the testing of all that stuff. Right now they got Canaan listed as Brooksburg area. Me and Susie tested quite a few years ago. Canaan's site will hit Brooksburg. You'd almost have to have one sitting at the tower on Pleasant Ridge by Rikers Ridge in order to get down that valley, or it has to be over across the river, and you'd have to rent a site for that. Nancy Martin. Nancy said they still own that site, and they would rent it to put a remote site on it. But, we gotta get away from renting. We need to,
sure,
that's just too many contracts out there. So, but those are the 2 primary sites that's not getting them. Rikers Ridge has no problem or anything like that, and I still think we are having some trouble when they made it automatically send to the remote sites. I've only heard it one time actually trip into the remote sites. And so I think the guy that you have now was let go from J&K, the original company we had, because he wasn't getting stuff hooked up right. And I hate to say that, but he moved to this other company, and that's who we hired.
Sure.
And so I think we're just about to put it out for other companies also, just because it changes every day.
Go ahead, any public comment, but. Okay. All right, when do you wanna, monthly, quarterly, what was your thoughts on the meetings, sorry?
I would defer to whatever you guys would like to go to. I can make myself available.
Is there enough going on and need to meet monthly, or would quarterly be sufficient?
I would say quarterly would be probably more
I
sufficient.
was think so. We're kind of in the middle of the quarter, so just in the middle of the next quarter, so that would make it in June or, no, May. Right?
April.
April? Yeah, no, January, February, March, April, May, June. We're in the middle sometime in
Yeah,
somewhere, so. Do you want us to pick dates? Do you wanna pick dates? How do you wanna?
There's a lot more of your guys' schedule.
Okay.
I think I'd appreciate.
So you have an email listing for all of us? Can't remember, when you send out the meeting notice, that should have it, right?
I can like get a group together.
Yeah.
And see.
Well, I'm just saying, if you've got that, I can copy it from there, or if you've got it, just send it to me and then I'll send out the email and get it set up the next. Motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. I'm a party.
We have a second.
Eagles.
I'll second.
We adjourned.
Awesome. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right, guys, thank you. Everything going okay?
Doing good. You got your things underneath your wheel.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my scarf and, oh,
Yep.
So your thing tomorrow, Bob?
what's that?
Your state.
Yes, come on down for it.
Got to reply, but we'll.
It'll be fun.
Did you get the recording started?
No, yeah.